All right, I'm here with veteran working pro bassist, bass player, bassist. Bassist sounds weird in that scenario.
It does. There's too many S's in
There's way too many S's. Here with veteran working pro bass player,
Right.
Mike Visceglia. How you doing, Mike?
I'm good. I'm in New York, and you're in LA, and that's how we do it.
Yeah. We're about to. Luckily, I'm not actually a baseball fan. Otherwise, this would be a much more heated conversation.
I can only reach out and grab you. I'm such a baseball fan.
But what we are talking about is the new working pro course at the Bass Shed Academy.
Another that has too many S's in it as well, but we're going to keep that.
I know. Yeah, let's keep that because it's already registered with the state, and I don't want to pay to redo it. So that many S's is fine.
It's a new course that we've designed together, which I think is really exciting.
I think it is exciting, man, and I think it's necessary. You know, there's so many topics that you're going to cover in the course that are necessary to being a working pro, not only bass player, but a musician in general. The things that we all have maybe learned, you know, the hard way through trial and error, or through getting, you know, if you write a chart and you send somebody a chart or something, and then you get to the rehearsal and someone just, you know, busts you on your chart writing skills. Things like this. We're going to talk about chart writing. We're going to talk about your personal finances and accounting.
Right. I think it's mostly stuff that you're not gonna focus on in school.
Right.
It's the real world stuff that you're gonna need to become, if you're aspiring to be a working bass player, traveling bass player, recording bass player. There's a lot of stuff that you're not being taught in school that I think you really need. It's the worldly affairs as much as it is the musical affairs.
I think it's important that it's kind of a series of lecture-style master classes.
Right, with Q&A and some homework. It's intermittent homework assignments.
Yeah. So it's not necessarily a playing workshop. Right. It is more of a lecture-style master class, which I know for me as a bass player, it's just listening to pros and heroes talk has sometimes been just as informative as an actual bass lesson where I would have a bass and working through things, because you learn how to think and you learn how to, you know, approach things mentally, which is so important in this whole occupation.
Yeah, you have to have a very the right attitude, the right thought processes. I'm assuming that you know, why there's no you know, bass playing, interactive bass playing, is I'm assuming that any of the students or people that tune in are players. You know, they're either actively doing it and they're playing gigs, or they've been to school and they've played a million classes and you know, all kinds of different all kinds of different groupings. So I'm assuming that the playing thing is pretty much in hand, unless somebody wants to reach out to me one-on-one and we can do something like that. But I'm more interested in the stuff, you know, stuff that's really important, but maybe peripheral to the classroom experience.
Yeah, I agree. And you bring up a good point, which is it is all skill levels.
Right.
This is available for all skill levels. So even if someone is kind of relatively new to the instrument, they can still learn about some fundamentals moving in towards the occupation. And it's also for bass players who may be working professionals right now, and they might want to, you know, get some guidance or get some insight on how to improve their career as a freelancer. Yeah,
it's professionал skills that you're going to need to know to be out in the real world. I mean, I've been touring. My first professional tour with art rocker John Cale from the Velvet Underground was in 1976. Now, I've been doing this for decades, touring and playing out all over the world, around the world many times, with various wonderful artists that I played with. Most notably Suzanne Vega, the singer-songwriter who I've played with since 1985, and I'm still playing with her. And I've done most of her records, and lots of other people. I mean, I've recorded with Jackson Browne, with with Phoebe Snow, with Bette Midler, all kinds of, with Christopher Cross I've toured with, I've done like a tremendous amount of touring, and I've made my living since I was basically out of high school, made my living as a professional bass player. So it's been decades of accumulated knowledge and experience that we're going to try to formulate into weekly lessons, weekly Q&As. We're going to address different topics each week.
Yeah, and I think one thing that I really like about the course that's been designed is, although technology might change and the industry might change, these are all things that will always be applicable. So when you were just talking about, starting your first tour in 1976, all these things were still applicable then, just as they're...
Were, absolutely. Yeah.
So
the only thing that's changed is the technology and this sort of some of the, the style of music, to some extent, perhaps. But as far as the professionalism, the sense of self and professionalism and where you are, how you conduct yourself, how you keep yourself together, even psychologically, financially, all the things that I had to learn the hard way because I wasn't always prepared, in the early days for any of this stuff. But I learned, and that's what we're going to be talking about. And we've divided it up into 10-week segments.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's going to be a 10-week course. Talking about different aspects each week of things to address and skills you'll need for entering into the professional world or growing in skills if you're already in the professional world. There are topics, again, you just brought up a good point, about mental health and dealing with that. That's so huge. And how to process some of those things in a healthy way to continue to conduct yourself as a professional and not taking it out on the gig, not bringing your bad day that happened out of the bandstand on the bandstand.
Right.
These are all very important things, and how to address those. Again, finance is always a thing, especially when working freelance, because then our love for the music and our love for the craft has become our occupation. So there's some crossfire there that we have to deal with.
It's not just, we're not talking about necessarily personal things or abstract things. I mean, there's also going to be how to properly audition, how to properly do a sound check, how to, relate to a front of house engineer or a monitor engineer. I mean, all this stuff is really important. What's the essential, standard of your equipment, how to deal with all of that. There's all kinds of things, and in music, equipment insurance, health insurance on the road. I mean, lots of things that are very important that kind of keep mind and body and soul together when you're doing what you have to do.
Yeah, we are trying to get some other tour managers and some other working pros in, so it's not just from your experience, but it'll be from other experiences, other genres, other, and we're gonna hopefully hear from, a wide range of working pros.